Over the years, I noticed that I have this capacity to really, really concentrate. Did you know that it is a real mental state, something scientific? It's not just something invented or that coaches like to speak about. No, it's really something scientifically documented. So there are lots of measurements, lots of experiments that have been performed, and they show that people in different situations of all ages, of all countries, everybody can get in this state of flow. The best part about it, it's related to hormones that make you feel happy. So once your brain starts to get into this mental state, then wow, there is this flash of wonderful hormones that give you the sensation. It really took me decades to understand what's going on in my brain. I never thought about it too much. I just used my brain like everybody uses it without questioning. But then I saw that in specific situations I could focus so much. So this is this mental state that the professor Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, it's a bit difficult, it's an Hungarian name, he set up this theory and dedicated his whole work. And what I usually do, I create like a peaceful bubble around me. I tell everybody, look, I don't want you to bother me right now. I need some tranquility for half an hour or an hour or something. And then I just let my thoughts go right in the direction that I need them to go. So in a way, I have a target, I have my goal, and I have to solve a specific situation. And I know that I can manage to do this, but it's hard. So I have to find a solution. And thinking about this solution, thinking about my problem, keeping my goal in mind, this is what makes me get into it. I read a lot of things, like really scientific papers and everything that gets really into detail of this mental state. I really wanted to know for myself. And once I had understood, I wanted to share this. And since the pandemic came, I had the time and I focused, and out came a wonderful book that I wrote, unfortunately in German, I'm sorry. I'm working on a translation. I will try to get this out in English. And so I put everything together in this book because I really think it's fantastic to be able to use this state of mind. This was my first book, so I was not experienced at all, and I just thought, well, let's give it a try. I wrote down the manuscript, or at least part of a manuscript, and I put in some photos and I sent it all to one of the big editors in Germany, and they accepted it within a few days. They were just happy to have something new, something interesting, and so this book came out in 2020. I'm very happy about this book also because, you see, I put in all my photos, lots of pictures, lots of photos from the last years, and so to me it's a personal satisfaction to have all these thoughts brought together and also to be able to share them and to have a book in the hand. That's just great. Later I was also asked to write articles, and I had a cover story about the flow in a big magazine. So it's really something that people get interested in, although it's been known for quite some time, but maybe more in psychological, neurological context and not so much in photographical context. So how can you get into a mental state of flow? In fact, it's different for every person. Everyone has a different way to get into this mental state. But there are some things that are similar for everybody. And so what is important is try first to observe yourself. And what happens is usually you perceive the state of flow only afterwards, when it's over. Then you realize, hey, this was so cool. I was so focused and I had all these cool ideas, and maybe it was a flow. So if you have this feeling, just stop whatever you're doing and try to reflect back. Try to think, what did you do? How were the circumstances? In what kind of mood, what kind of shape are you in this particular moment? And once you figure out, then you can start from there again and try to do this a lot more. There are 3 key elements which are important to remember. 1, you do not need distractions. Like your cell phone, just put it away, forget about it. If you are in a flow and your cell phone rings and you answer, then poof, the flow state is just gone. The second is you best don't have time limits, because time is something that if it's too short, you will be stressed. And you don't need stress. If you want to get into a state of flow, you have to be relaxed and with peace at heart and with a time limit set in a way that you know that you can get into depth of what you're doing, that you're not interrupted by something happening. And the third thing is you need to do some effort to get into a state of flow. It's not that you're lying somewhere and looking at the blue sky and puff, there is the flow. No, it's linked to an effort. So you have to focus on what you want to do, on your question, on your task, on your idea. And in the moment that you try to figure out how to solve this is when you enter into a state of flow, because you're doing an effort. You're doing an effort to understand how to put your idea into something, into a photo, how to translate your theoretical idea into a real photo. Professor Csikszentmihalyi also said it's important to have kind of a balance between two things. One is the challenge that you're facing, the challenge that you set for yourself, like I want to get a sharp photo of a specific situation within this frame that I have chosen. And the second is that your capacities, your perceived capacities that you have, that they are in good balance with this challenge that you have. So you don't have to feel too much or too low in your way to respond to this challenge. You have to feel in a way that, okay, it's difficult, but I can solve it. I have the capacity. If you have this feeling, then you will get into a flow. It's very difficult if you feel stressed by the situation because you think it's just too difficult, I will never do this. Or if you get bored and say, this is so easy, I will do it in a second, and so then you will not get into a flow. One key is to find your balance between the challenge and the skills that you know you possess. So you can see this here. You get into the flow channel, and the higher your skills get, the easier you can cope with difficult challenges. And so you get from, you can see here, just taking snaps without a plan where the challenge is low and your skills are low, to very high challenge and very high skills, and you get focus on the photography and to eternal happiness. Well, this is the state of flow. You have to be in this flow channel, and you have to have high challenges and high skills to really get into this flow state. If the challenge is too high, then you feel overwhelmed. You feel uneasy, restless, and stressed because your skills are not sufficient. If, however, the challenge is too low and you have good skills, then you feel bored. You get into a routine, it feels boredom, you're just feeling unchallenged. So this is why the exact balance between a good challenge and your skills is important. So here I bring it all together. Here you have the challenges which are increasing. Here are your skills which are increasing with time. And what you have to find is this balance so that you get the flow state, the happiness with photography. It doesn't have to be too stressful. It doesn't have to be too boring. You just have to find the right challenge and develop your skills in the right way to find the real flow. So this video was a bit more theoretical. Perhaps I could help you to understand this mental state of flow. And yeah, I'm working on my English translation, so you don't have to read the German book.